So I've just started the recording. Meeting called to order. It's 4 p.m.
What they're saying.
Hi, Sam. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to name off the people who are here for the purpose of people who might be listening to this. Barbara Bigelow, Chair. Sam Spisiak, Chair. BZ Riley, Christine Marglin, Christine Robinson, Elaine Paleo, and our guest, Kristen Burgess. Now, Christine M. is about to be extremely proud of me. And here comes Anne, because, and she knows what I'm going to do, is there a motion to approve the meetings from the minutes of the last meeting? Oh, yeah. Elaine, all right, it's her second, and all in favor, raise your hand. Okay. So, Kristen, the reason that this is such a big deal is I've been sharing this for some years, and I think this is only the second time in all those years that I've remembered.
I love that. I love that for us.
So, okay, well, thank you everybody for being here. Hi, Anne, I'm glad you're here. And Darwin is not able to be here today. So, Kristen, I'm just going to kind of turn this over to you. Kristen, just a quick introduction. Kristen had this really cool idea about getting a softball field back up and running behind the fire station. So go for it.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for having me on here today, and it's exciting to see everybody. And I just haven't really been seeing enough of everybody with the weather we've been having. And it's really interesting with the weather we're having to think about my crazy idea that I have. But I'd like to give just a quick history on why this and how this idea sort of popped up into my brain. And that was because we had responded to a home for a reason that they had called us for. And while we were there, we were asked to head next door and go do a well-being check on someone. And we were there. Everything was wonderful. The gentleman was fine. And we just got to talking. And he explained that he is, in his words, an old timer in town and remembers the days of when there was a softball field behind the fire station. And then started talking about how they used to have an ice skating rink and what they used to do with the field and all of this. So I started asking around a little bit more to a couple of other people in town and asking, let me mute that so you don't have to hear that. And asking around, what their memories were and surrounding this. And I just thought this could be a really fun community policing project, if you will, for me and for the department. Now, in the history and the stories that they tell me, it was a pretty rudimentary field. I mean, it wasn't anything super amazing, or I'm seeing nodding with Elaine. If you remember the field. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. And so it wasn't anything like amazing or major, but I started sort of brainstorming myself and thinking of ways that if this is something that we could do, if this is something we could approach, how I could get volunteers to help get it up and running, what it could be used for. It could be very multi-useful. I come from the Berkshires, come from many places, but my last stay in the Berkshires, we had a small town, and we had live music on these fields. We had a track around one of the fields that people felt very safe to be walking on. I know I always am delighted to see people out and walking on the major roads, but I always am worried about them as well at times. So in saying I want a softball field, I want everybody to sort of broaden their thoughts with me. I see a vision there for a place for community gathering. I know we do have a couple other places. We are going to soon have a library that is going to be amazing and wonderful. Yes. I know every time I talk about that, everybody smiles. And it's like, if I need someone to smile, I just say that word. I know we have Lake Wyola, beautiful, wonderful, and people come there. And there is the Shutesbury Athletic Club that people feel. This is just, I think, something a little different. So if you will, use your imaginations with me, my vision is, yes, a softball field that could be used for t-ball, that can be used for softball, with potentially a dirt track going around it. So I'm not talking about anything super fancy to start. A track for people to walk around, bleachers that people can watch fun games, a way that we can have the recreation committee appeal to other folks that might want to do these sort of things and have events there. We could have a we could have co-ed softball there, where people in town sort of play against each other. We can open it up to other towns coming and playing Shutesbury, which I know if I coached it, we would win. And if you haven't guessed, I used to be on a co-ed softball team in the past. I see live music there. I see an opportunity for gatherings there. I see a way we have people in town with food trucks where they could come and potentially, we could support their small business. I just see so much potential for this. I know it's hard to maybe express that. I see it all done in my head already. But I also recognize if this idea were to be taken on, we would have our work ahead of us. Finding out if we can put it there, finding out about the grounds themselves, all of these things, which I am prepared to help tackle. But I also will need some assistance if the town select board allows me to have a working group. I will need some help in that. I will need some brains added to the mix. I will need people that are thinking of all the reasons why it won't work so we can get to the reasons why it will. But this is something that I would like your cooperation and your assistance with, particularly because you are recreation. And this is something that I would like to see be brought for the town and also bring back. It was there once. It was something that people enjoyed. And I want to bring something like that back and give something to the town. And that's why I'd like it to be, a community policing project in cooperation with everyone else. I want to give something substantial. So thoughts.
Well, first, I just want to say, I love the idea. I love your enthusiasm for the idea. As you're talking, I can kind of picture it. I've already got the colors of the food
Yes,
trucks.
yes, yes,
I have a couple questions and a couple comments.
yes.
Eric, my husband, who you know, and I
Yes.
got married in 1982, and after our wedding, everybody went up and played softball on that field.
Come on. Do you
Oh,
have pictures?
wow.
Yeah, we have pictures of people,
I love
that was sort of the entertainment after. I mean, we had other things going on too, but
I love that.
And then Elaine and I had little kids at this, a few years later, and there was soccer, Sunday morning soccer. There were 2 soccer goals on that field as well. And there was a riding rink out there that people had horses and did,
Mm.
equestrian like things. I'm not sure what that would have been, but anyway, there is a history there of people recreating on that field for a long time. And I don't know why it's sort of dissolved. I don't know what happened, but I can't imagine it would be that hard to bring it back. Maybe getting bleachers is another thing, but the actual
Well,
field
It's the
part.
easiest part.
Well, it's going to be it's going to take a little work because it's been dormant for quite a while. But I think that this first year, excuse me, you work on actually making it somewhat of a reality, and then in the fall, when you're looking at wanting bleachers or some real development, you turn towards CPA funding and
Mm.
you ask for CPA funding and have the rec committee sponsor you. And that way you could get a good chunk of the funding with that. So, it's too late for this year,
Right.
but after that, you could do that.
It's a
Right,
great
and
idea.
there was talk, Elaine, also about, I would have to have a, it's been a long weekend into this week. My brain is a little slow in functioning. There would have to be a study, independent study done to make sure that it was, able to be used for what we would like to use
Mm.
for. So these are all things I know are potential issues. But anyone that knows me knows I come up with ideas and then I'm like, let's just go and see what happens. But again, I recognize it's a
Yeah,
big task.
get the town, DPW to just start mowing it. Like if you mowed that field every other week all summer, it would really help just to start to cut down the weeds and just keep mowing it. I mean,
I
they
think
have,
I think your biggest issue is going to be parking.
Right.
And we're gonna have to figure out how to do parking. We might have to give up the most northern part of the field to make it parking there because you don't want to do anything that would encumber the fire trucks.
Mm.
Cause
Right.
then Lenny you'll be done.
Right. Oh, no, I've sort of thought about that already. Um,
Mhm.
and I have thought about potential weekends, on the weekends, the DPW is not
Yep.
really
Mhm.
there. We could do that. People could park at town hall, they could park the common, things like that, park at the school and walk, things like that. I've thought about those ideas. I've thought about special parking when an
Mhm.
event is happening on the roadway. We've done that before. The police department has allowed that before. So yes, I agree. That's going to be something that needs to be for sure thought of. And so what I'd like to do, but I wasn't going to move at all until I got lots of smiles from this group, is I would like to ask the select board if they will, Elaine, maybe help me with the legality of it. Ask them for a working group, ask them to appoint a working group.
Mhm.
What's the terminology that would need to happen?
Yeah, have them create a working group and then it's up to the working group to, they'll create it, they'll appoint members to it, people, will apply for it and they'll appoint the members and then it's up to the members to determine, who's the chair, what their scope of work is gonna be. Another issue you probably need to think about is bathroom facilities. You're gonna
Mm.
have to have a portage on there, I would say.
Okay.
But you should check in with Sunderland School.
Okay.
I mean, it's not the school, but it's the field in front of the Sunderland School. So it's something with the town of Sunderland. And I have to say that if you're ever looking, you're desperate for a porta-john, the one in the front of the Sunderland School is the most well-maintained, clean.
Mhm.
We park there often to bike, and it's amazing how nicely they can keep that. And it's just one porta-john, and it's out in the open in the middle of Sunderland, and they somehow can maintain that. So I think we could do that too with a very minimal cost.
Okay.
Sam, did you want to say something?
All I was gonna say is in my poking around the internet on various committees, I did find that T-Mobile has like a grant for small towns, and I was wondering if you'd be okay if I sent that over to you
Oh.
to take a look at.
Yes, I was just going to start jotting things down, Sam. Please.
Oh yeah, no, I'll just email it
Thank
to you, and then it might even just be a nice framework to be like, oh, I need these things to apply for a grant funding. I need to be like, these are the steps I need to take. That could be helpful too.
Yeah. Yes, that would be great.
It'd be great if you could even
Right.
have like, if you think really big, you could have lights because it's dark here
Mm.
for so much of the year. Like that's thinking really, like
So
really big.
my
Yeah.
ultimate vision that I don't want to scare people with because I see things complete to fruition and 10 years from now what it looks like. and I see a beautiful rubberized track for people to feel safe and walk on. And I see these really well-maintained bleachers and potentially gazebo, and the lights for a nighttime gathering. You know, yeah, my vision is pretty broad. I just didn't want to scare you all with how far down the road I've seen
Oh,
that.
don't worry, we go down those roads.
Yeah.
So Kristen, another place when I was teaching at the school, I got a lot of grants from the New Salem Academy.
Okay,
And they give grants that are just for community projects that are permanent. So you can't write a grant for an artist to come in and, perform, but like if you go in the elementary school, that tile wall,
yes.
that was a 3-year, we got money from them for 3 years from that. They
Wow.
funded the
Oh,
whole
wow.
thing.
I love that too. Yeah.
So there, and a lot of the murals and things in the school, I got money from them. So the person who knows a lot about it is our interim town manager. Because she used to be on the board of the New Salem Academy. So if you talk to her about it, see if I don't even know if it's still up, but it was money left in a trust fund from when they closed that school, and it was for Franklin County projects, just like what you're talking about. So
She just keeps coming up with more and more tools in that toolbox, Gabe. I'm a
Yeah.
fan for life.
I am too. She's awesome. So she'd be the person while we still have her in town. I
Yes,
go over and ask her about that, see what she's
yes.
so.
Another source, one of the first things that somebody said to me when I came on this committee or came on as chair is that there needed to be more things for elders, senior citizens to be able to do. And one of them was to sponsor walks or have some place where people could walk safely. And there really isn't a place. And so that might be another source of funding, because a track, even a dirt track, would provide a level, safe place for somebody who may have some mobility issues to be able to walk. And that opens up a whole other lots of other opportunities for funding. So
Wonderful, because
yeah.
that is a thought that I had. It would need to be, well, I would want it to be multifunctional.
Mhm.
But because there are people that have said to me, I used to walk all the time. And as much as we're trying to combat the speeding that happens through town, it's just not, we need to create places for people to be able to
Yeah.
feel safe and still get their movement.
Well, and also, just as a form of exercise, not necessarily, heavy duty recreation, but the track could be a place where you would do cross-country ski lapping and just get out there for exercise instead of, if you don't have the time to go up to anywhere else to ski, that it could be a place in the winter that you could ski.
And one of my husband and I just got back from Mexico, and we did a tour of different areas of Mexico. And in one of the tours, we were going through a Mayan community. And in the middle of the community, they had this beautiful little sort of recreational pod of equipment. So people were able to do pull-ups there. They were able to sit on this metal seat and do biking, and it was all permanent stuff that was there. And it was almost like a playground for adults. I dug it. I was like, we need that. I would like that where I live too. So.
Well, Kristen, I want to thank you so much for coming. I would say that all the nodding heads and smiles speaks volumes. So keep us informed about what you're doing, and feel free to come back so we can talk about ways in which we might be able to help.
Great. So my next step then is going to be to request to be on an upcoming agenda for the select board, to request a working group. And then when that happens, I'm very hopeful that you will just have some people from the recreation committee apply to be on that, because I think it's important for us to have that input from all of you. So and then when the other thing is that if anyone has any input on who we should have in a working group and maybe how many people we should have in a working group, if you could email me some thoughts on that too.
Okay, great.
I would really appreciate it. So, here's to bringing cool things to the future.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
exciting.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks,
A lot of
Kristen.
All right.
enthusiasm. You're great.
Thank you
Okay.
all, thank you all so much. If you don't need me, I'm gonna excuse myself and get ready for the
Okay.
next meeting.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Great
Bye.
seeing you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so our next agenda item is the DCR proposal. So I can, let's see, I don't ever share things. Let me just see if I'm going to be able to share. There, I want to share. There, is the letter up? No?
Yeah.
It says I'm share, it says, oh, good, okay. So basically, we just need to go through this for content. I can make any editing as we go, and then sending it to Commissioner Arrigo, and then on to Comerford, Saunders, and Healy. Is that right?
I think
Okay.
that seems good.
So BC, this is kind of, I'll just hand this over to you at this point.
Okay, well, I'm curious who did the red, added the red. Was that you, Barbara?
Yeah,
Okay, why don't you just, I don't have my glasses right.
oh, okay, well, the first was just, I wasn't sure how biking was affected, that's all.
Oh.
So,
I'm not, I mean, I think if they go through with what they're planning to do, mountain biking will be definitely,
okay,
affected.
gonna-
I don't think road biking, because they're not going to, log on the roads that are here.
okay, so I'll just put in mountain biking. It's pretty
Yeah.
minor. This is not, and then the other
But
one,
wait a minute, wait a
Well,
minute.
oh.
Is mountain biking
is
allowed
it-
on DCR property? I don't think it is.
oh, I'll have to
Oh.
take it up. Thank
Nope.
you.
I don't know, you hear one thing and then you hear another, like,
Well, but the signs there say.
I know, but the signs say no dog walking, but then
Yes.
there is a letter that's been circulating around from one of the commissioners of the DCR saying that you can walk on the west side of the Quabbin, which is Shutesbury, and you can walk with a dog. So I don't know what,
You know what my suggestion on this one would be is that it could potentially be problematic to include biking,
Mhm.
and it's not going to hurt it to exclude
no,
biking.
just take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other question was just about, it's the logging project violates this mission by making the Quabbin Reservoir unusable and inaccessible,
That's
which
not-
suggests that the whole thing is now unusable.
Yeah,
and-
no. It's
Yeah.
not, doesn't make it all inaccessible.
By making,
A major
help.
portion of.
Yeah,
okay,
and it should say the Quabbin Reservoir watershed, I think, because
Right.
we're not walking in the
right,
reservoir.
okay, great. And so they were pretty minor things. So now I will turn it over to you and to others who may have other editing things that they might want to do.
Looks good to me.
Okay. All right, now I couldn't find my the email because I'd sent you an email, or maybe I didn't. Sometimes I write things and don't send them because when I was going through the conflict of interest stuff, I came across something that I thought is that we're not allowed to make political statements, but this isn't really a political statement.
No, this is
No,
related to
right.
recreation. Seems
Yeah,
to me.
okay, great. I just want to make sure I'm dotting the
Yeah.
i's and crossing the t's.
We're not saying, no Trumpsters can walk there. We're just
Why
saying.
not? Oops, this is taped. Never mind. None of that just occurred.
No, we're not saying that
Yeah.
certain groups can't.
Okay.
walk there or,
All right. Yeah, go ahead. someone
Sorry,
was
I
gonna
just
say-
had a couple of really minor
Mhm.
editorial things.
Yeah, go for it.
Really minor.
That's why we use the T.
Between, in the third line, between activities and such, you need a comma.
Okay, do that.
Wait a second, I'm not seeing where
Third
we are.
line, first paragraph.
Third line, first pair, intersect activities, comma, okay.
And then after hunting, you need a comma.
Right.
And then I just wonder. And then Barbie, you deleted all by mistake. So you need to
What did
just,
I just do?
just
Oh,
write the word all there, all of
oh, thank
which.
you.
And then just, I wonder if it would be helpful to put the URL of the website or the web page that quote comes from BZ, just to
Yeah,
add that like
I don't-
citation.
I don't know where that I don't remember where I found that.
You know what? We could just say if this is the mission statement, then we just have to say the mission statement of DCR states.
Okay, that sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to say where it's from. It's their mission statement.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, if it's the statement, it needs MENT at the end of
Yeah,
state.
yeah, I was gonna say that. There was another little thing.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
This is good. You guys are good. This is why I'm not a writer.
I found the statement.
Where,
The DCR
Oh.
manages state parks and blah, blah, health and happiness of people, blah, blah, blah. I found
Hmm.
it on their
Okay.
website.
You want to just
Okay.
put the page, or does it have a?
It's the top. It's the
Yeah.
top of their website.
okay,
So
I don't think we need to, yeah,
Okay.
say,
mass.gov
Okay.
/org/Department of Conservation Recreation. It's their first line.
yeah,
Okay.
and we don't need to
No,
reference that. It's there,
No.
okay.
it's
Okay.
on
And
their
then
website.
I have a devil's advocate question.
Yep.
So when it says that it will make a major part of the Quabbin Reservoir unusable and inaccessible, what if they say, no, it won't? Like, it's only
Yeah.
going to take 3 months, and then afterwards people can walk in this lovely logged, barren.
You're not going to be able to walk in it for years.
Okay.
You will maybe eventually. Maybe our grandchildren will be able to walk.
Do you know, BZ? Have you
Yeah,
got
let me
any
give
information
you-
on how long that logging project is supposed to take? Because that would be like if we could say proposing a multi-year project.
Well, yeah, it is a
or something like
multi-year
that.
project. So let me tell you what happened today, this morning. 6 people from the DCR came out here and met with Eric and Donald Fletcher and Joe Comerford and Joe Comerford's assistant. And they walked around what they're going to do. And I was not invited to be part of that, but they didn't want to have too many residents, I think, showing up. But, you know, they defend what they're going to do. They say this is going to be, we're not going to get on the trail. We're not going to touch the trails, but they are going to touch the trails. But, you know, and we're not doing this to make money, which I find really amusing because obviously they're making some money off the lumber. But anyway, you know, they're very defensive about what they're doing. We're going to help. This is going to help the quality of the forest. This is going to make, but here's the reality. If you know where on 202, there's a big pull off between Cooleyville Road and the main road that goes up to town, the, you know, Prescott Road. That leads to where they're going to do the logging. They have to put in a large bridge. They put in a metal bridge. They replaced the old wooden bridge. They put in this very large wooden bridge, but they didn't do it right. So now they have to go back, and you can see in that pullout, they're huge, 3 big piles of stones that they're going to road building equipment. So the first step is they have to build the road, because we know what logging trucks, how heavy they are, how big they are. They can't go down Cornwell Road. It's a tiny little road. So they have to rebuild a road. So let's just say this isn't going to happen tomorrow. But if they build that road and if they fix that bridge, they're going to have access to all of Shutesbury, to Lake Wyola, to Wendell, down. If you just keep going down New Boston Road, you end up at Lake Wyola. So this is our thinking, is that they're going to do this first here in Cooleyville, and then they're going to keep going down. You know, once they get the road in, they're just going to keep going down and till they hit, you know, they're not in the DCR forest anymore, which is at Jennison Road, I think, in Wendell. So they they could do a lot of logging. Now they say they're going to do it in this sort of checkerboard way where they don't it's like a 1 acre, they destroy everything in 1 acre. And then they move on. They don't do it right next to the road. They don't do it right, but it is, if you could go and see what they've done down by this pullout on 202. They did logging there, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and it looks like a nuclear bomb went off still. That was 2 or 3 years ago. Everything's just trashed. Now, eventually the earth will win out, and with things are starting to grow up between all the, in 10 years, maybe there'll be something green there. I don't know. As things rot but it's not going to look good for a while. So
I just edited that little bit to capture this, so it'll be unusable and inaccessible for many years to come.
yes, that's good. That's sort of accurate. Yeah.
I also just want to say someone joined, the Michael, do you want to just say hello and say your name for the recording?
Hello,
Hi.
Michael Hootstein. I just was checking out my Zoom connection but I live right where Dirt Wendell Road comes onto Main Wendell Road. So I walk Boston Road in that area. I didn't know this was happening. So
Yeah, well, you know what? They didn't even tell the abutters it was happening. This was one of the things.
yeah, and
They had this whole plan. They had like a period of time where the abutters could make a comment, or you could have
Yeah.
public comment. It closed, and then we found out about it the next week, only because somebody we know is a retired forester for DCR who came to us and said, you know that they're going to be logging all these woods. And that's the way we found out. So that was one of the things we said to Joe Comerford today, was like, well, you did not even, it's not really legal what they did, that they should have told the abutters that they were doing it. And then they said, oh, we'll make an exception. We'll put your letters in the file, even though it was after the period of time that you were supposed to be able to comment. I was like, well, if we didn't know it was happening, how could we comment?
well, is it all right if I say something?
Oh, please, absolutely.
Yeah. So as you might know my name, I've been respectfully challenging the state and now the town of Shutesbury for 30 years. And there's a respectful right way that you can challenge things that are wrong. And if you don't stand up to things that are wrong, they happen every time. But I have found that if you make a good argument based on the facts and the regulations and the laws, you can succeed more often than not to move your mission forward. So if I can ever be helpful, because obviously
you.
this is my community, it's very concerning for me.
Yeah.
That any way I can be helpful, and I know my wife Kathy feels the
Yeah,
same.
thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, it is very concerning. I think this is what I think happens. These decisions are made in Boston where they look out to the western part of the state and they say, oh, nobody lives out there. And look at this map. There are all these trees there. There's all this forest. What if we just logged, a 10th of it or, 20th of it? Nobody will notice. Nobody will care. I mean, I don't think they realized they were going to meet up with some opposition about this. I think they were surprised. So anyway, we'll do what we can do, and
Thank you.
anyway, we'll see. I mean, it will sort of change the feeling of Shutesbury in a big way.
Now, BC, you had raised another question about this, and that was whether or not our names should be listed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we just leave it as the Shutesbury Recreation Committee, or do we put all of our names in there? I don't know. What do people think?
I think you
I-
really should have the membership there.
Okay.
And Elaine, it could only be people who are here, right? I mean, we couldn't, or you'd have to get Darwin's
You'd have
approval.
to get Darwin's
Yeah.
approval of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that I can ask her.
She
Or
the
that
only one not
agree.
here today?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sure she wouldn't care.
Okay.
Did everybody, this is the first time everybody's seeing it in its new form?
Yeah, it's basically just edited what you had originally sent, and I took the edits that others had offered.
Okay,
So I think we need to move to accept the content of the letter and to send the letter. Is that correct? So so I move that we accept this letter with the caveat that we will add all the names, which is not currently on this, and send it to the commissioner as well as the other people listed at the bottom of the letter. Is there a second to that?
Second.
And any discussion, further discussion? All those in favor, just raise your hand. And I'm actually going to close this so I can see, because I just realized I can't see everybody. Okay, so raise your hands. Great. All right, so that is unanimous. And also Michael's jumping in there with this too. Good timing, you know.
Can I say one thing about that? When you do add our names, if
Yes.
you can do it in such a way so it stays one page.
Yes, it's all going to be one page.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure it's one.
If you added everybody, would it then go on to another
Yeah,
page?
no, it'll all be one page.
I want people to know in Wendell, I'm in touch with my friends who challenged a large clear cutting by the state. They got 10 citizens together. They sued the state. My friend Glenn Ears.
Mhm.
And they did a wonderful job. So he is an expert on the legality of how they take the state takes a lot of shortcuts and nobody stands up to them.
Right.
So it's not impossible for us to call in your legislators. They won't get involved with these matters, but 10 citizens with the leadership of the Recreation Committee, we can challenge things in a respectful way.
How do you spell his last name, Michael?
Glenn Ayers, Ayers, but yeah,
E-R-S.
Glenn's in Greenfield now. But the people actually felt so strongly about the clear cutting in Wendell, a bunch of people got arrested. Wendell, as you know, has been a hotbed of activism for quite a few years. But they did it in a real peaceful, nonviolent way. They were not able to prevail. But Glenn was in conversations with our Attorney General, now our governor. Just by discussing what they learned, a group of people from the committee, you folks with us backing you up can be very, very powerful. But it's not asking for somebody to help you do it. You've got to decide, this is what I want to do. And then people like me will help bring you the information and support you in your endeavor. But we're not powerless.
Right.
In this day and age, it's nice to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And BC, I want to thank you so much for bringing this to the committee
Thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
and drafting this letter. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
We're rallying the troops.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, good.
On to the next. Let's see. I put everything in a neat pile so it would all be in order, and it actually stayed in a neat pile.
Oh, can I ask you one last
Yeah.
thing? Can you just send, you will send us all a copy of this?
Oh, yeah. You'll all
Okay,
get a
good.
copy
Because
of
then
it.
I can forward it to Donald Fletcher, who's sort of spearheading that, so he knows that the rec committee has supported the,
Yeah. And I
anyway.
want to thank Sam for our logo, because
I
I was
love
able
that
to
on the
put,
top.
yeah, I was able to put our logo at the top of the letter, and it really does look nice. Thanks, Sam. Yay. Okay. All right. So now I got something else to share and just a few things to say about it. Before we get going, let's see, I want to share this. And I'm going to share. And that should be sharing. And there we go, any moment. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of figure out how much money we have left, given the number of projects that we're potentially doing, and to look at what we have already spent money on. So the budget update up at the top, the night sky, that was in August. The townwide birthday party was in September. Then there's 1,000 that we give to the library for the fitness classes and for the Good Neighbor Day. We bought some soccer balls for the youth soccer. There was the Brightwater Bog Walk, and then the improv workshop, which was this last weekend. And thank you to Christine M. for organizing that and getting Henry to come and lead that. It was a lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun. If anyone ever needs a reason to laugh, do some improv, and you will definitely be laughing.
How many people showed up?
It was a small group. There were 9 people. There were two other people who had signed up, and then they ended up canceling out. So it was not, it wasn't like the walks. We didn't have 20 people plus 15 people on a waiting list, but it was a good number of people and a lot of fun. So but looking forward now to the other things that we have talked about, and I don't think we have to make all these decisions today, but we've sponsored the Open Studios in the past. I'm making the assumption we'll want to be a sponsor again with that. We help them with marketing expenses. The bike repair event we talked about last time. One of the things we'll need to talk about, and I'll turn it over to Sam for this, is the logistics of it. We talked about having an early morning bird walk during migration, and then my personal favorite, rocks of the area, with a very funny geologist. How to start an orchard, the farm visit to, and I'm forgetting the name of the farm in Hatfield, a spring Brightwater Bog walk, and another night sky. So we don't have enough money for all of those things,
Right.
if we're paying people as much as we have been. So couple of things, and then I'll stop talking and hand it over, at least for the bike repair event, to Sam. We don't have enough money for each of them, but there are things that we can do. The night sky would probably not be till August, so that's our next fiscal year. How to start an orchard, we could probably put into another fiscal year. Some of the options is we could offer all of the remaining events and then pay them, just divide the balance by the number of events. We could offer 3 events and pay $250 each and leaves the remainder for something. Cliff and Graham and Helen all said they really didn't want an honorarium, and they gave it to the library, which is really nice. So we could also ask people how they would feel about not getting an honorarium this time. And we could also decide not to do this many. So I just said a whole mouthful of stuff, but basically we have lots of ideas of things to do. We don't have as much money as we would like. And so we may have to make some decisions. The bike repair event was one that I think I got the sense from our last meeting, we definitely want to do that. And Sam, you had talked to some people about the event. So I wonder if you could say a bit more about it.
Sure, yeah. I talked to my friend Stu. He lives over on Schoolhouse Road. And let me pull this up. And he has a connection at Laughing Dog Bikes in Amherst. And the questions that they had for us was date and time and how long, how much we could afford to pay them. And then they were kind of thinking of doing it as just like a mini bike tuning clinic where you just come and they just kind of quickly, I would guess, spend 10 or 15 minutes on a bike and tune it up. And then they would also want an indoor space if we could provide it as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as we have gotten on that.
Okay.
I had said that we typically, one second, honey. We typically have about $250 per event.
Mhm.
And one second. And that we could possibly do it in the basement of Town Hall.
Mhm. Great. Comments, ideas?
I think it's good. It's something different. We haven't done it before. I like doing some things that we haven't done before.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, not that the other things aren't good, but we have done some of them before. I think it's nice to keep, appealing to maybe people who haven't come before to one of our things and,
Exactly.
The only thing that I would suggest is that we use the gym and not the basement of town hall because it has a parking lot, and so they could actually ride their bikes on the parking lot.
I think our only concern is that we don't love the responsibility for opening up the school ourselves. Is that right, Barbara?
I don't like doing it.
Mhm.
I don't currently have a key, so it's a moot point. But
I'm sure we could.
we would be able to figure it out.
We'd have to
I-
figure it out. I
Yeah.
think that's the only constraint there.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, we
I'm
have,
very, yeah,
there's members of the community that work at
Yeah.
the school that would definitely do it.
yeah. Yeah, I think we would be able to,
Yeah,
as long as I
I
don't
think-
have to.
I
It's
think the school would be my preference as well for the
Mhm.
Yeah,
same reason.
okay.
We could really do a lot. And didn't we also buy a tent last year as well?
Yes, we did. We bought a tent. Mm-hmm.
So we could do that too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
how big's
Okay.
the tent? 10 by 10?
Oh, my
big.
goodness. I don't remember how, I
Yeah, I
think
think it is.
probably was 10 by 10. Yeah.
Mhm.
Christine?
I agree that this is a good idea for the bike repair as well as pursuing some different things. And I really like the idea about the rocks and starting an orchard. I just really think we should pursue new things. Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe the farm visit is something that we could say, tell people about the potentials for farm visits and maybe not do a farm visit this year. Maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
have a list of farms and, that they could visit themselves.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Yeah, there are a lot of farms all over. I mean, you can just go to UMass to the barns there. That's really fun. That's like, you don't have to plan anything, just,
Right.
yeah. I think that, let's just make a list of farm animal.
But I agree with Christine that, doing something different each year, we did the, what was the event at the school? The, kid
Oh, right.
family field
Family
day.
field
The
day.
field day.
Right,
We
right,
did
right,
that
right.
like 3
Yeah.
years in a row. But
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't
did
need to
it,
do that. No.
If they want to do it again, they have the capability to do that. So
Yeah.
I like switching it up and having things that
Good.
other age groups would be interested in.
Yeah,
I like
great.
the
one
idea
thing-
of the comedy and rocks too. I mean,
Oh, I know. Doesn't that sound intriguing?
that
Oh,
sounds really fun.
Well, and
Yeah.
Barbara, one thing you didn't mention about the improv group is even though it was a small group, there were people that hadn't been at
Thank
other
you.
recreation committee events. So that was really nice.
Mm.
I didn't know
Yeah.
any of those people
Mhm.
Yeah.
except for Diane. But
Yeah. Anne was a particularly talented or knowledgeable
so,
professor of art. Was her role in one of the improv. And oh, was she good? It was a lot of fun. But yeah, there were new people that I have
Mhm.
people I'd never met before, which
Yeah.
was really cool.
Hey, thank you all
Okay.
so much. I've got to head out.
Okay, thanks for
But
coming.
it was a real pleasure. Thank you for letting me be with you, and thank you so much for your great work.
Thanks.
Oh, thank
I can't
you.
tell you how much, I had perfect timing, but
Yeah.
thank you. I know I feel so blessed to live in this
Oh.
town. So I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
All right,
Bye.
bye. Well, so for right now, I think what we want to do is find a date for the bike repair event. I think we should start moving forward with that one. I remembered from the minutes, if I'm recalling, that we had basically just left it. We wanted to make sure that it didn't conflict with town meeting. But I can't remember when town meeting was.
End
April
of April.
26th.
April 26th?
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
There's
So
one more
let's-
thing we forgot on the list is kites, but it should cost us. I
Oh,
think
of
it costs
course,
us
I'm so
40,
sorry. Yeah, we love kites.
Yeah, we
40
love
$40. I think it cost us last year.
Okay,
So it's not.
thank you.
I'm not going to break the bank. And the library will join with us. They'll do a craft or something.
Okay,
We haven't
fantastic.
decided yet. Okay.
So I'm sorry, say again when the April for the town meeting,
April 26th.
26th? Okay. And would we want to, so have it sometime in May, early May?
I think
Of what?
May would be.
I'm
I
gonna
think
get rid of the
even later
sharing at this point. The bike repair, do it sometime early May? What are people's thoughts on that?
Well, there's
Yeah,
International
mid-May.
Kite Day, Japanese festival in Japan, and
Ooh, when is that?
it's always in early May.
Oh,
Anyway,
This
okay.
isn't like broadcast yet, but the PTO auction is going to be May 9th. I
Okay.
got to get on that marketing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that was said at our last meeting around the bikes is keep it simple. Because I know we have had all kinds of, decorating things. There's so many things one can do, but I think keeping it simple, especially the first year, would be a good idea.
And
And-
International Kite Day is January 14th, by the way.
Oh, okay, we're not doing that.
Japanese. That could be interesting. Out on the lake, they'll be on the frozen lake.
I'm out.
In our bathing suits. Yeah, no, we'll pass on that one. Okay, well,
Pass it all in January.
we'll figure out a date and get that nailed down at our next meeting, because that'll still give us plenty of time, because that's the end of
Why
March and
don't
we'll be
I-
doing it in May.
Why don't I offer like May 17th, 18th,
Yay.
24th?
Is that a Saturday, Sunday?
I'll ask for those like 2 last weekend. The 24th
that's
is
good.
Memorial Day weekend.
Spring is
right?
good. People think about their bikes in the spring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
All right.
great.
I'll try to do. Okay. I'll send a
Okay.
couple dates in May and then we'll just see what they say.
Okay. Okay, and
Okay.
another thing, someone had mentioned that there are a lot of people, there are a lot of people in Shutesbury who do a lot of biking and are pretty good at bike repair. So in addition to somebody from the bike shop in Amherst, could also have other people there who can help with various repairs, so that it's not just one person dealing with everybody.
Right.
That
Elaine
sounds
would be good on that.
Mm.
She's
okay.
an ex-
Good. All right, Elaine, you've been recruited to come up with some names then.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
My
And
husband would
that's
do it happily
Yep.
too. I just need.
Mark Prati is really good. Cliff Reed is really
Okay,
good.
Great.
Dan Lass is very good.
John Airstock. but
Oh,
they're-
wow. Okay, tons of people.
Yeah.
Handy.
Good. So actually, then the question is, do we want to bring someone in who we're hiring or just have local people there doing this?
Let's ask the locals first if they're
Okay.
interested.
Sam, what's your feeling about that? Okay.
I agree.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think that sounds
Good.
great. Yep.
Oh, fantastic. Good. Because that would be kind of nice too. Just,
Mhm.
all right.
So much enthusiasm. I'm
Yeah.
so like this is the most positive I felt, since Trump went into office. This is like awesome.
Yeah. It is
Communities
awesome.
coming together,
Let's-
doing things. They can't
Do you
take
guys
our
want to ask for them? Sorry.
Wait, so you're breaking
Want
up.
to ask them from? Sorry. May 17th. Do we want to try for that?
Sure. Mhm.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
So
Yeah.
will you ask
Let's go
about the
closer to the road.
school?
May 17th. Okay. I'll
Yep.
check in with the bike people I know. And it would be like a morning.
Yeah, I think morning would be.
I think so.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
great. And my bet is we'll get lots of people for that. Okay. So right now, then the bike repair thing, we are tentatively doing it on May 17th. The kites needed to get added. And then the priority will be to plan other events that are new events that we haven't done before.
Yeah.
Okay. And Christine M., could you ask your husband when a good time would be for orchards?
Yeah, I did, and
Oh,
I'm
great.
happy to do this. I guess he was just concerned if people are trying to work on an orchard or start an orchard this year, then it needs to be kind of earlier. Like I'd been thinking it could be later, but anyway, if people are really interested in
Mhm.
doing this, then probably like April at the latest. I mean,
Okay.
the way to do it in March. So, I don't even know if you can do it in April, you know, maybe.
Okay.
Would he ever do a tree pruning? You know, because people have trees that always need to be pruned in the spring, winter, late winter, early spring. Would he ever do that, you know, like help?
Like talk about, I mean, that's one of the things he would talk about if.
Right. I mean, he could demonstrate on a tree, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he doesn't, you know, he's not gonna take money, so you don't have to factor that into the budget.
Oh, okay. Hey, that
I
would be
just think
nice.
that
Thank
would
you.
be, I would think that would be interesting for a lot of people, how to prune
Yeah.
trees.
Mhm.
Because starting an orchard, that's a whole nother level of
Yeah.
commitment and money. But pruning, everybody's got trees.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's more about like maintaining. A lot of people just have a tree or two. It's doesn't have
Right.
to be
Yeah.
an orchard.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
How do you keep it healthy? You know, what do you do?
Yeah, it shouldn't be billed as just like
Yeah.
starting a whole orchard. It's like just
Right.
taking care of any fruit trees really that
Right.
you
Yeah.
may have or that you may want to get.
Oh,
Right.
maybe we could bill it as that as fruit tree preservation or something like
Or-
that.
Yeah.
And pruning, I think put pruning in
Yeah.
there. Mhm.
Maintenance.
Yeah, Christine, you have you're muted right now. Christine, you're muted. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So you're saying what I'm thinking, which is like, how do you fertilize fruit trees? And, you know, that's like things I would like to know as well. Like, that's all.
Great.
Thank
Maybe healthy
Uh,
fruit trees is the way we bill
Yeah,
it, and
I
it
like
runs
that.
the
Healthy
gamut.
fruit trees.
Ooh, healthy for you. I'm being very aware of the time. We've never gone over,
Oh, yeah.
and it is currently
Okay,
4:57.
I quit this committee then. This was over 15 minutes.
We haven't gone over yet. But we have action plans. So we have an action plan for the bikes. We have an action plan for the orchards, and then it's just when he pick a weekend in April that it would make sense to do this.
Yeah, I think
Is
that's,
that, yeah, okay, and so we're good with that. Yeah, Christine, and again, need to unmute.
How about the rocks?
Could we hold off on the rocks for the moment just because of our timing? And I think that
Yeah.
that doesn't have to happen in April or May because rocks are always just there. They don't have a season. That sounds like a song.
If you haven't heard it, on Friday, the Fabulous 413 had a little blurb about Jurassic armored mud balls, which
Jurassic.
are only found in Turner's Falls and in the waters of Franklin County, and they're trying to get this as a state, I don't know what, but they're mud balls, and they are from the Jurassic era, and they live in the waters up in Turner's Falls.
Cool.
And I mentioned that to Al, and he knows the guy who actually found them, who was a professor at Greenfield Community College, and he knows all about them too. And so that could be one of the field trips that he would take us on, which
Cool.
would be hysterical. But
that would be, I'm gonna sign up for that.
All right, great. Well, that sounds wonderful.
but
Okay,
they'll
so
still
I
be
will.
there.
What?
They'll be there in
Good.
the
Yeah, that's
summer.
the
It'd
nice-
be more fun, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing about the rocks. They don't, like I said, they don't have a season. So I think then we're all set. This was a wonderful meeting, as always. I must say, I'm very glad Michael came, and I'm very glad Michael said that we can have an impact, because I lose sight of that these days, that it's possible to have an impact, and to have someone come in and say, there's something you can do and it will make a difference, was really perked me up. So
Yeah.
I'm appreciative of that. So could someone move to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
And second, and all those in favor? Great. The meeting ended at 5:00 p.m.